Light Crusader is a short but sweet isometric adventure game developed by Treasure after the success of their flagship title, Gunstar Heroes. If you like their style of games and you have around 4 hours of free time, I heartily recommend it. It was only a matter of time until I picked up a Treasure game to review, but why Light Crusader? Because when people talk of Treasure, you can help but instantly shift into the classics, Gunstar Heroes and the one that seems to keep the company alive, Ikaruga. I could ask why Radiant Silvergun doesn't get the same treatment, or at least a PC port to Steam, but that will only lead me to ask the same for everything else that they developed. Anyway, they made some other games, and they're also pretty good, carrying the same energy that made all their classics popular, but never had a chance to shine. Hell, Light Crusader came out in 1995, and to put it in perspective, that was the same year that Chrono Trigger, Mortal Kombat 3, Earthbound, and the original PlayStation were released worldwide, so it's not really a surprise that this original title has slipped the eyes of the mainstream when it was originally released. Not only that, the game was part of a 4-game project, being developed at the same time as Dynamite Headdy, Alien Soldier, and that one great Yu Yu Yakusho fighting game. It's a strong lineup, and even though they had to work on licensed games to stay afloat, they somehow managed to crank 3 entirely original games, and all to a system they only recently started working on. In case you don't know, Treasure was mostly comprised of Hex Golden Arc Konami programmers, where the SNES was usually the system of choice for developing, so even while they're at the top of their game, developing for a complete different system was not that easy. Even then, they did their best on pushing the hardware to the limits, that being the main reason as to why President of Treasure, Masahato Maegawa, chose the Mega Drive as their platform of choice, even exclaiming that Gunstar Heroes was impossible to do with the SNES specs. You see, Treasure loves 3D. Even their original logo has these neat 3D treasure chests split into sheeple shapes, which is basically what they love doing, composing shapes to create this fake 3D effect on a system that was solely built for 2D. Blast Processing 2D! I'm literally doing this because the only follower I got on Twitter is the official Treasure account. I don't know how that happened, but that is a good excuse as any to talk about this forgotten game. Light Crusader starts by showing the antagonist even before introducing the main character. David, a knight in the service of King Frederick, was invited into coming for a vacation in Green Row, only to discover that he was tricked into solving the town's problems. The king explains that a lot of people have been disappearing lately, and that magic might be involved. A certain King Whedon is also mentioned, but that's about as much story you're gonna get for now, as the focus of the game is mostly action, as that was always the main design philosophy of Treasure. So, right after this long unskippable exposition, you finally get to control David in all of its isometric glory. The controls might take a bit of time getting used to, but it's nothing too bad. Certainly not at the level of mental gymnastics that you had to pull to play Landstalkers. Right away you will notice that you can push everything that is not nailed to the ground, so of course, you quickly rearrange the room to its correct position. Or you can also stack a guard, a cat, and a throne to get really high for absolutely no reason. Hope you like doing that, cause there's going to be around 4 hours of that for puzzles and platforming. Anyway, moving on to exploring the rest of the castle. And I gotta say, the pixel art is absolutely gorgeous, that still holds up to this day. Even after realizing how each room is constructed with its same repeating parts, the unique high quality building blocks that constitute each room is simply amazing and never feel overused across the entire game. Even if contained in its scope, exploring the town and interacting with its characters is something that I recommend, and it's also important to figure out how to progress further. You can check out the pub, where a bunch of people try to raise their spirits facing the present crisis. The equipment shop, where the shopkeep at least has a sense of humor. The inn, where you can rest for the day or buy magic. Nice! And also, what I can only call an attempt at shitposting, by locking you into hearing this tone-deaf woman playing the piano. and whatever this painted room has going on for it. As you explore, the setting is heavy with sadness, but you can still feel some sense of comfort from the town and its inhabitants, with the music carrying a melancholic tune, setting the mood for the situation at hand. But then you enter the graveyard. It's with these echoing heart palpitations that the tone changes drastically. Even though it's supposed to be middle of the day, you finally take notice of the all-consuming void that surrounds each of the diorama-looking maps. Even without the villager's hint, the path leads you straight to this place, and the marks on the dirt are pretty clear on what their true purpose is. Without any other way to go on, you descend into something you might not expect. A small claustrophobic room of lavish ornaments presents itself, with a single doorway leading you into a wall of symmetrical gargoyles, staring you down as you move deeper into this weird dungeon of dark corners. To anyone who might have tried this game for the first time without knowing absolutely nothing about it, this has to be the true turning point to the real tone of the game. During the initial castle section, when exploring its few rooms accompanied by its jovial music, one is most certainly caught off guard as soon as they enter one of the many important rooms that are revisited throughout the journey. The music shifts abruptly as the wind whispers grow louder and you stand with your feet still planted in the darkness of the void, while you look at the futuristic metallic ring that occupies the middle of the room, surrounded by windows of encapsulating darkness. Oh, it's a save room. I mean, yeah, it is kinda weird when you think of save rooms, like Resident Evil. You get something more soothing. While in this case, what you get is an absolute opposite, like you ain't supposed to be here in the first place. Not long after, you step into another room and you are greeted by the same exact tune, but now it's even more macabre, as the gold circle gives way to a statue of such scale that you can barely see it completely. Two otherworldly figures stand tall while a perpetual engine turns a disc in their hands. It does nothing for now, but will later reveal itself as a teleport point between dungeon floors. And now, back in the dungeon, something creeps onto you while you prepare to descend once more into this unknown place. The feeling of uncertainty grows larger. Then you go down and... Alright. Never mind what I said, we're grooving in this dungeon. This is Light Crusader in a nutshell. Its sense of mystery is heightened by the high-level quality work that only the ants at Treasure could pull it off. At first glance, you think that this is just a fantasy game about exploring, but then you find yourself fighting a mech that screams when you kill it. And it all comes together to create a special game that is unfortunately overlooked. Anyway, you find some slimes and you kill them, and you get water? Yep, this ain't an RPG, so no leveling. All the progression you get is in the form of equipment, magic and items. Right after showing you how the combat works, they push you right into a platforming room. A three-dimensional platforming room. With its starting low stakes, the game lets you get acquainted with the 3D movement by having you jump around places you can't even see and rewarding you with the first health up. Not even letting you relax, the next room is filled to the brim with spikes to avoid and platforms to try to jump into. You see, even with the shadow that David casts when jumping, sometimes it's hard to have a sense on where you're supposed to jump from. Hell, it's always hard, and it only gets worse when the complexity revs up. You also get introduced to another creepy yet safe room, this one being really helpful as it heals you fully without charging you for anything in exchange. But if you thought that the music was here in the previous room, the next one will surely catch you off guard.
Thank you.
The pendulum music, accompanied by the weird color scheme of the web theme room, sounds so dangerous that you might not notice that this is where you rescue your first villager, which rewards you with more info in the story. As far as I know, beside 3 or 4 characters, I don't think you're obligated to rescue everyone else to complete the game, with some of the info they share being more useless than it's worth the trouble. Exploring further, you come to face one of the staples in the puzzle rooms, the Techno Disco Prism. You can turn its laser in 90-degree increments and use it to open doors and triggering stuff at long range. If you probably didn't know by now, Treasure isn't going to crack a fantasy game and not give it a twist or two. Did I mention how much Treasure loves 3D? Look at that 3D door. Take a shot every time you see Treasure using the 16-bit hardware to do some funky 3D. Anyway, next room and you get goblins. Okay, sure, no problem, just gotta... Oh god. Oh Jesus. Oh no. Even without the blood, I think goblins are the only type of enemy that actually has these types of death animations. Like, it's not even just one, you get two to drive the point home that David is not here to fuck around. So anyway, you got a key, try to fit it into some doors until you find the correct one, solve a puzzle room with some creepy music, open a door, somewhere, destroy some killer water lilies while jumping out of the water in full plate armor, and then turn on some light posts to open a magical portal into a cat shop playing what I can only describe as being penis music. Meow? Yeah? No? Before you know it, there it is. The first boss. Hope you like balls. If you're not in the loop, Treasure not only brings you visual shock, speed shock, sound shock. They also love their bosses, and that is something they didn't forget here. Weird shit aside, they always bring a lot of interesting stuff to the table. I just love how David does this little flourish every time he kills a boss. No one else is watching, but he feels pretty proud about it. And give him a break, he still has 5 more floors of this and he wants to be done before dinner. Guess it is a good time as any to talk about the magic system. It's pretty cool, you got 4 basic elements and you can combine them to create up to 15 different spells, like the bullet system of Gunstar Heroes, giving you enough variety that they don't have to lock it up with progression to keep it from being stale throughout the entire game. You can do stuff like cast meteors that bounce around the room, turn undead to insta-kill undead enemies, summon a guardian to shield you from damage, or even just heal yourself. The resources are a red drop, and they do cost a hefty amount if you keep using it without thinking, but if you keep that in mind you basically never run out of magic. After some puzzle rooms, bell rooms and weird rooms, okay no that's pretty cool, how they show you that it's the wind pushing you with the little particles spitting across the room at high speed. I think this is the first puzzle room where you start to have a sense that the way the physics work is not really made for precision, that most of the times when you're solving a puzzle, it comes to what might seem more of a sequence break than the intended solution. If the puzzles were made with that in mind, we'll never know. Oh shit, is that some 3D-dimensional grinding? Oh yeah! Anyway, it's a shame that even after getting new equipment, the player sprite doesn't change, not even color, but I guess that had to do with some type of limitation that they couldn't get around. It's also pretty funny how you can literally exit boss rooms like any other normal room. Is that a dragon made of balls though? Yeah, moving on. Ground enemies are already pretty annoying to fight, even more when you can't judge the height that you're currently on, so it's basically dive sword time until you eat the damn thing enough times. Can't forget the pose though. Check out the Pendulum Man, it's a pretty simple yet cool effect. So we reach the end of the first floor and the villager informs you that there's a barrier that the king might know what he's up with. You conveniently go back with the teleporter that is right next door, grab the king's pendant and dispel the barrier. Second floor, here we go. Music warns you that things are even more serious now, and while exploring you find some robed dude. He sure looks like the salty man that appeared in the beginning of the game, but now he explains that he needs the 4 orbs to dispel a curse on his son. I mean, sure, it's not like I wasn't already exploring the place. In your journey, you find a mix of items and clues on how to solve the various horror puzzle rooms, like having to rearrange statues to represent the concept of penumbra, running news with the cardinal directions, what? Or repeating a sequence of musical notes and reminding me of why I haven't pursued a musical career. Like, it's 7 notes of 4 possible variations, how hard can I almost spent 10 minutes in this, for fuck's sake. I also love how there's one single villager in the entire game where he's just stuck in a room because of a ghost, and David just literally stabs it, no magic thingamajig needed. Just stab the motherfucker. I guess this is a good time as ever to mention the menu. Yeah, it's so good that it deserves its own section. And contrary to the important recurring rooms, the menu has probably the most relaxing music of the entire game. While chilling in here, you can equip the stuff you get, like weapons or magic, check out the map, and believe me, this is one game where it's pretty useful. and also change some options. I also really like how the sort option rearranges the items into these neat little arrangements, not just sort them all in a row by type. I find that really charming. Now the real reason why I'm talking about this. You know how sometimes games have something where you can just count how many of things you are gonna get, so you kinda know how near the end of the game you are? Well, you see how the equipment menu just has various slots to spoil you on what you can get? Yeah, well, guess what? Just went ahead and pulled a twist on that end, and I love it. Not only that, for some reason that still baffles me to this day, you can actually get the best armor in the game from water lilies, which means you can get the best defense right from the first floor. There's also a part where I would make a joke where this takes a while, filling up your inventory with fish, but by pure blind luck this time, they decided to drop it in less than 3 minutes, so the rest of the game is now trivialized. Not like the game is hard to begin with, it's just that now I really don't have to worry about dying. Might as well talk about the sextant, a secret item that you don't have any possible way of knowing on your own without someone else telling you about it, even though it's really useful. In the second floor, on the room with a skeleton and a clue for the orb puzzles, you can actually break this pillar over here and open a door to a treasure room. This item lets you move instantly to any teleport room you have unlocked so far, so yeah, it's pretty cool and useful. You can also go to the mode options, turn off everything and press down a bunch of times to unlock a secret test menu where you can see pretty much everything that the game contains. I miss when games had this kind of neat, interesting stuff. Anyway, back to the main quest. I grabbed the sword from the weapon shop to be a bit ahead of the curve on this floor and kill this wall plant thing. Grab the last orb and... oh my god, it's Bathrobe Guy! Wait, but they call him Ragnarok later. Who is even lying to me anymore? And it looks like he tricked me. Make me do all the orb collecting business to resurrect some other dude. Okay. After throwing me into Snake Man, who turns out to be highly flammable to being stabbed, we found ourselves in the next floor. The racism floor. We got goblins working the captured villagers in the mines, which for some reason David doesn't save, and some kind of settlement for goblins we can't decapitate. Most of them at least. The music does sound kinda trippy and on edge, like you're also not supposed to be here. After some exploring, you get to the actual worst part of the game. Trust me, when I was a kid, I got stuck hard in this part, even though it's literally just Simon Says with 4-digit combination. This is not so bad by itself, but then you find the same puzzle, and now it's an 11-digit combination, and man, I ain't that good at remembering stuff. Only to finally beat it and discover that it was for something optional like a piece of armor, which isn't even good because I already have the best armor, god damn it. Moving on, you go on ahead just to find a guy riding a dragon in an indoor pool, which leads to blowing up both of them, and they being pulling a Jesus to pose on top of the water, because of course it does. Some puzzles later, what you get you might ask? A costume. A goblin costume. It is called a costume, but it's just David naked with a bit of fabric protecting his orbs. At least they didn't reuse the goblin sprite, otherwise I don't know how good it would be if David went around doing green face. You can now talk with goblins, even though some of them are kinda rude. But you might not realize this because your first encounter is in an hostile room, so you can still attack the goblin, and to keep up with the finicky controls, the button to talk is the same button to attack, so you might decapitate some goblins by mistake, again. By talking to certain goblins, you can now go through some locked doors, do some more puzzles, fight a ballsy spider, and get the ability to raise the water in some rooms. Backtracking a bunch, more puzzles are solved, and it's even worse when you discover that all of this is just to get a sword that is even weaker than the one in the weapon shop. Eventually, you come into a room with a guy rummaging through a chest looking for something to eat, but only finding an ancient tablet which he proclaims that the princess in the castle might be able to read. Who is this guy? And why does he know that? And why is he looking for food in the third floor of a dungeon? What Bombadil bullshit is this? So we go back to the castle, again, and this time we talk to the princess, which reads the tablet and proceeds to talk about this Garriott and how cool he was with his whole focusing the light of the human mind to create a sword. That is pretty rad, and at least a level 3 of consciousness Kundalini right there. His chakras are definitely top notch aligned. And look at that, even name it after this game, what a coincidence. He must also be a fan of treasure. Going back to Goblin City, we head towards the arena where you can fight other goblins, even though it's much easier to just push them off. The money isn't that great, but it's quick and you can repeat it as much times as you want, so if you really want to grind it out, you can do that too. After spelling out things in unexpected places, it's time for the 4th floor. Luckily you can finally take off the goblin costume. Here you get introduced to some more puzzles, but this time you have to do it with little friction. At the same time, mages start appearing, which are annoying to fight, as they don't stop teleporting everywhere while casting magic. In an unexpected twist of events, you do find a new shop to buy some of the more rare items, some of them which you have no idea what they do, but they are pretty expensive, so they can only be important, right? Unfortunately, to buy stuff in this shop you need your gamer card, otherwise you get denied. While I try to look for one of those, the music grabs up with some really extreme experimental angle. While I accidentally solved a puzzle for a chest that was already open. The cow guy is still tilling the fields while in a prison cell. There's accidental dig jokes, and solving puzzles to save pointless people. But after going all around the map, you do find the gamer card and the wizards let you through. A reversing controls room later, and... oh, for fuck's sake, again with this shit. So apparently there's a traitor between the gamers, the wizards. So you kill everyone in the room, and there's this random dude that, am I supposed to know what this is? Anyway, you walk right into a boss that is obliterated so fast that I actually forgot about him and had to go back to write about this part. Another key is acquired, and you go back to the only locked door left, and then have to solve one of those 3x3 puzzles that I thought I was good at, but not really. This opens up the entry to the trial room, where you just have to spend 1 minute eating shit super hard. So hard in fact that while opening the menu during it, the entire thing just got corrupted and almost crashed the entire game. A couple of more rooms later and we get another boss, one that wants to test your worth to wield the mythical light Crusader. This boss is pretty cool. You actually have to hit the invisible weak point following the armor, whose shadow is the only thing you can see from it. This would be way less effective if the boss room wasn't decorated in the 60s, but oh well. Boss is defeated, sword is acquired, a new floor is reached. Now this has to be the coolest part of the entire game. This room has a spinning 3D crystal surrounded by statues, and depending to which one is pointing at it, when you step on it, you get transported to a little challenge gauntlet. Nothing impressive about that by itself, but check out this shit. Yep, I'm in a modern war battlefield, stabbing soldiers and mortars that drop corn. Yes, the weird robot thing that screams when you kill it is here. It only gets crazier and you get 7 more of these, so let me go through them real quick. You got the Ice Age, where you do a terrible sliding puzzle and fight the magic elements, which apparently can also scream when killed. The Tron Vaporwave Cyberspace, where you fight shadows. Feudal Japan with magical ninjas and funky music. An abandoned post-apocalyptic city filled with zombies and with puzzles that you might think that are harder than they really are. A space station with simulated gravity that can also be shifted to let you jump really high. The Wild West with a bunch of cowboys and Kevin Bacon's friend as a guest, but made up of entirely balls. And finishing up, you get another battlefield, but this time you end up fighting a tank. Fighting a tank with a sword. It's a pretty cool looking tank though, I gotta admit. After all of that, the wizard that you rescued in each of the worlds tells you that you gotta kill the necromancer. I guess Rock is a necromancer now, I don't know. He turned the crystal into wireframe and bam! Into the boss you go. Oh, this guy is the necromancer. Then who the hell is Rock? Moving on to the next floor. Yep, you heard me right. There's still more after that cool sequence. It's not that small either. You go around finding dead ends, saving captured villagers that offer you such precious advice like... thanks? During that whole thing, you decide to visit the castle one more time, check out what people have to say, or just pet the royal cat. At least when you visit the previously desolated rooms, you can now see some of the people you saved. It's that man. You go back, adventure some more, puzzles are solved, keys are obtained, and the music is bopping, while David is strutting. Oh no, the princess has been kidnapped. Yeah, whatever. While you're back to slaying everything, including goblins, a new ugly boss appears. Can't all be winners, can they? This one has the power of 3D healing him, so you gotta take care of that before you can kill him for good. Anyway, even with the gamer past now, the wizards are back to being annoying throwing magic around, so you kill them all and rescue the princess. And she tells you how Roke and the king were friends of her mother, but she ended up with the king. Oh. Well, that's embarrassing. So, with the entire plot resumed in 2 sentences, David keeps on strutting through battles and puzzles until finally you confront Rogue. Wait, Whedon? What are you talking about? Didn't David mention a Whedon too? Wasn't he a king or something? Who is this guy you've been talking about now? So he destroyed the orbs that you gave him before, and then sliced his head a couple of times, and by the power of the ancient aliens you... Oh god, oh. I didn't mean to decapitate the damn thing. David ends up congratulating the player, or himself, I don't know.
Congratulations!
And mumbles his way through a sick burn to end his whole adventure. Yeah, fuck you. So everyone is saved. The town is happy. The princess wants to bone. What? But David is already out of here. This one dude expresses wishes of wanting another adventure, but I don't know who he is, so whatever. Everyone is happy, and David gallops right off, probably to a well-deserved vacation from this entire ordeal. Hey guys, we're still here. Could you guys please lock these chains? It's kinda chilly down here. I could probably cut all this rock with my nipple right now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. Please, for fuck's sake, shut the fuck up for a minute. So, is the game good? Yeah, I still like it. It's not that long, so it's not like it overstays its welcome. And the physics, while kinda frustrating in some of the rooms, never get too complex that leaves you doing the same thing for more than a minute. Not the best Treasure game, but one I can still recommend if you love their style and still haven't tried it out. I just want to end up with one last story. Back when I was a kid, my brother got a copy of this game from a friend, and me, being a dumbass, accidentally deleted the owner's save file. And no one was happy with that. And now I come here and I beat the game in 4 hours, and that is including me goofing around. I always felt stupid for that, even more when you consider how short the game is. Oh well. Next up is not gonna be another Treasure game, but I will definitely come back for that in the future.